Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our session on Tata Power Renewables. I just introduced Rakesh sir. Rakesh Singh sir is the head of business development and growth in the renewable segment of Tata Power. A graduate electrical engineer from Bombay University with an experience of over 25 years at power value chain, with an extensive knowledge and experience in the renewable segment past couple of years. He heads the business development for utility scale projects in Tata Power and is responsible for all the bids that Tata Power participates in the utility segment. Sir, you can go ahead with your presentation, sir, please.
Yeah, thanks, Abhineet, and good afternoon to everybody. So here we talk about the experience of Tata Power in the entire value chain. And I think you guys will be aware and would appreciate that we are in the entire value chain, starting from manufacturing to operation maintenance, owning the asset and operating it for a period of the PPA. This organization has been in the manufacturing for about 30 years, over 30 years of experience. We currently have a cumulative 1100 megawatt of manufacturing capacity, out of which 530 megawatt is cell manufacturing and 660 megawatt is a module manufacturing. Over 2 gigawatt of modules have been shipped globally as on date. The company is there in the EPC space. We do EPC of large-scale utility projects. We do EPC of rooftop pumps and so on and so forth. The current order book stands at about 10,000 crores with about 4 gigawatt peak of EPC orders in the pipeline. And this includes the EPC orders of the self-EPC, which is for our own developer companies, and the EPC for third parties. Tata Power currently has 1 gigawatt of wind assets under operations spread across the country. So far as operations and owning the assets is concerned, we own about 2 gigawatt of solar, 2 gigawatt of total capacity, out of which about 1 gigawatt is wind, and about close to 1.9 to 2 gigawatt is under implementation. So that brings us to about 4 gigawatt of total capacity, 2 gigawatt under operations, and about 1.9 gigawatt under implementations. We are the leading rooftop player in the country and have been at the top notch for about 7 to 8 years now, with over about 900 megawatt of portfolio currently. In the pumps, we have done about, in the pumps, we have done about 55,000 pumps as on date and are the market leaders in this space. Under the microgrids, we have done close to around 160,000 microgrids as on date, as we speak. This is about the overview and largely speaks about how the country is poised to take on the RE growth. We're blessed with RE, and the country has a potential to go up to around 750 gigawatt of solar capacity and about 300 gigawatt of wind capacity. Looking in terms of how the market pans and what is the cake available for everybody. So as per the Government of India plans, we want to go up to 500 gigawatt by 2030, and 500 gigawatt. If you take a breakdown of this, what we see is about 105 gigawatt is already installed, about 60 gigawatt has been awarded and is in the various stages of development and construction. So this leaves the pie at about close to 335 gigawatt, and over a period of 8 years, this means close to around 30 to 35 gigawatt of capacity to be awarded and installed. So this clearly means there is a good enough market for everybody, and we can safely bank upon it for realizing our growth aspirations. This particularly talks about our utility scale operations and where we want to be. It basically indicates the kind of bids that were awarded in the past couple of years to show how the market has been progressing. And from a 13 gigawatt in 2019 to about 31 gigawatt in 2020, when we had the manufacturing tenders and others awarded. 2021 we did about 19 gigawatt, and in 2022 we've done close to about 17 gigawatt of capacity awarded till date. If you're looking at the split of the capacities so far as the solar, wind, and the hybrid is concerned, in 2020 it was largely a solar and a wind market. The country as a industry as a whole did about 80 to 85% of solar capacity and about 17% of wind. And then in about 2021, we did about 60% of solar, about 11% of wind. And that's where we started moving more into the hybrid and the RTC space, where we did about close to 5.5 gigawatt of this capacity aggregating to 28% of the total capacity awarded. 2022 sees this hybrid and RTC going up to 32 gigawatt. The objective and the purpose that we are trying to explain out here is the market is gradually moving from standalone solar and wind to a hybrid and round the clock capacity addition. And going ahead, we see more of this happening. In terms of where we want to be, currently we are about 4 gigawatt in terms of the installed capacity and the pipeline that we're talking about. Whereas in the next 5 years time, maybe up to 2027, we want to be a 15 gigawatt company. This would come through organic growth where there's sufficient demand, which we've indicated in the initial slides. And of course, as and when the select inorganic opportunities come. So we're broadly looking at adding close to about 2 to 3 gigawatt of capacity every year. So that's the kind of target that we set for ourselves. In terms of what is the technology available in the industry and where we are adopting, we've seen that the industry, we started with around 220, 230 watt peak of modules, going gradually up to 340 watt peaks, then going up to 440 watt peak, and now it's operating at about 530, 550 to about 600 watt peak of module wattage. So this higher module wattage definitely gives an advantage in terms of the land quantum being reduced, the BOS cost coming down, and so on and so forth. We're also looking at the new age technologies coming in, which is more with the adoption of tracker, with the adoption of bifacial modules, which give a higher energy yield, and certain mechanization in the installation process, which will give the industry the ability to do large scale installations over a smaller period of time. As a Tata Power, we've done project executions in marshy land and hilly terrains and have really the kind of experience of working in these areas. When I talk about marshy land, I'm talking about the capacity installations that we are doing at Dhulera, which is a creek area, and of course we've done installations in hilly terrains as well. As I indicated in my previous slides, the industry is gradually moving towards hybrid capacities, which will see more of solar, wind, hydro, battery installations. Though the battery tariffs may not be currently at the best of the numbers to support the kind of installations, but this is going to reduce over a period of time, and we see that battery integration in a large manner will happen in the RTC capacities. To add to that and to bring competitiveness, the block sizes have been increasing, which started from 3 megawatt to going up to around 7.5 megawatt, 10 megawatt, and now we're going up to right up to 12 megawatt kind of capacities. We are there in the floating solar space in a big way. Probably we are the leaders in this space. We are installing 70 megawatt for NTPC at Kayamkulam. This is about 105 megawatt peak. We won a project for installing 300 megawatt in the eastern part of the country. Of course, LOE is awaited, but we are there in this floating solar space and see this as one of the major growth engines going ahead. In terms of what are the technologies that we use for operations, we are using centralized control rooms for analysis and ease of operations. It gives a lot of data analytics, which goes back into the plant operations to improve the efficiencies. And this will be more so useful as we look at ramping up the capacity from where we stand today at about 3 gigawatt to somewhere around 15 gigawatt. So this is an essential, and this is the kind of infrastructure that we are building so that we are able to cater to the growth that we are looking at. In terms of maintenance practices, we are moving towards use of drones in a big way. This will help in identification of hotspots, reverse polarity, diode faults, string mismatch, etc. E-security in a big way is being adopted at all our sites. We have developed a real-time dashboard for this centralized control room, and this gives us the ability to analyze the various wind farms that we are operating. This is a place where we could check the generations along with the power curve and see if there are mismatches between what should have been generated and what is being generated. And this input goes back to the sites for further improvements. The thermal imaging I explained earlier. We are looking at more accurate wind vanes for reducing pointing error, and this could improve the yield by about 1 to 1.5%. Use of LiDAR in a big way is being planned so that the windmills performance is aligned towards the air mass flow. So these are some of the technology adoptions that we are looking at to enhance our operational efficiencies so that we meet the targets that we aspire for. Coming to the rooftop, I'm talking about the on-site and the off-site installations as we talk here. And while the annual estimates for FY 2023, the way we've looked at it, stands at about 3 to 4 gigawatt. Over the next 5 years, we see this capacity going up to 9 gigawatt, with residential and CNI segments being the primary growth drivers. Of course, the industry has been plagued by some of the more evident issues that we would want to discuss. One is the regulatory flip-flop, which we keep seeing every now and then, which is in terms of the capacities, the gross metering and the net metering issues, in terms of the grid support charges which are being levied on the rooftop market. So we need a better policy stability to give a boost to this market. We also need a dedicated financing arrangement for the rooftop industry, the way it is for the auto segment and for the housing segments, which will give a fillip to this industry. And of course, of late, the industry has been under pressure because of the increased commodity prices. So these are some of the items which have been plaguing an exponential growth in the rooftop segment. In terms of what are the key capabilities and differentiators that we bring, of course, the brand, the most important thing. We are the best in class in terms of generation from solar, in terms of engineering practices, quality commitments, uptimes. We are a one-stop solution provider for all, rising from bill of materials to regulatory approvals to financing solutions. And of late, you would have seen that many of the companies are coming up with utility bids, wherein they ask for the EPC solution provider to provide the land, the regulatory approvals, and of course the installation and commissioning. So which is where we are there. In terms of the safety culture, this flows from our practices in the ethos of being a power company for 100 years. We using the channel system also very effectively for growing the rooftop business. In the rooftop segment, we are present across the entire value chain, in practically the entire geography, and we are operating with the channel partners, whose numbers we expected to be in excess of 1,000 going ahead. And these guys would be largely catering to the residential and MSME segment. In terms of new product offerings, we have been offering battery-based solutions for the off-grid support systems and for the hybrid systems, and we would have done close to around 4 to 5 megawatt in the battery-based systems itself. A high level of digitalization and technology adoption is taking place to meet the kind of growth targets that we are looking at. A completely robust supply chain arrangement wherein we are looking at decentralizing the consumable part of the EPC segment, wherein the panels and the other things could flow from a centralized location, and a quick working capital turnover. So these are some of the things, differentiators that we bring on the table. On the pump part of it, we are present in a big way in component B and component C of KUSUM, and as the targets are pretty evident, that component B targets about installation of 20 lakh pumps, and what we see is that a capacity close to about 300 to 400 megawatt has already been awarded, while the rest is yet to be awarded. So out of the 20 lakh pumps to be installed, only about 4 lakh has been awarded as of now, and close to about a lakh would have been installed. So this leaves a large part of the market to be yet to be awarded, and what we understand is this period has been extended by another 2 years to FY25. In component C, which calls for individual pump solarization and the feeder solarization, the story is no better, and a large part of this 15 lakh pumps is yet to be awarded. In terms of what we bring as a key capabilities and differentiators, not much different from what we do in the rooftop segment. We are looking at operational excellence and collection efficiency, which is win, execute, and collect, which is one of the most important factors out here. We have a cost leadership in this segment as well, wherein we are talking about decentralized supply chain, getting a volume advantage, use of DCR cells and modules. We are a partner of choice, cover a large spectrum through our channel partners, and are using digitization in a big way. Of course, at the center of it is adding customer delight. Yeah, so that's all from my end.